come on. Here we are. Wow. Okay. It works. It works. It works. Here I am. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Hi. Can you see my screen? I see that everything seems to be back. Oh, no. Okay. So here we are. Awesome. 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 Hey, amazing to have you here. My first live stream ever. It's completely new to me. I'm just trying this out. This is something I've been thinking about for quite a long time, doing live streaming, and now this is my premiere, very, very first approach on doing that. It's really awesome. It's very exciting to me, to be honest. Yeah, and what I will do in this stream here, I will recreate. I will recreate this visual here. Yeah, this is a visual I've made with processing. As you probably know, I'm a creative coder, so I use processing primarily to create, graphics and generative design applications. And this is one of my works I've just published recently to Instagram. This is a visual where some quite advanced features come together, and yeah, I'm going really to build this from the ground up. So let's see if that works. Pretty nice. There's already someone in the chat. Hello, Pablo. Nice to have you here. Yeah, I had some difficulties before with the other stream. So, by the way, as I said, this is the first one I do this. So, yeah, bear with me if I do something wrong here. Cool. Yeah, it's a wonderful day. I feel very, very good at the moment. So I know this is going to be very challenging. But yeah, hopefully I have enough energy to go through the whole thing here. All right, so what do we have here? This is a grid of elements, right? This is a grid it's a grid of 9 tiles, and these tiles have they are based on an array, right? An array or a two-dimensional array of data. And so this two-dimensional array of data is basically the state that this application has. And this red dot that is just moving is my mouse clicking on these tiles. And based on the information that the tile has, right, it just changes the state of every single tile, right? Probably this is too advanced for most of you, but anyway, let's just try to untangle this complicated thing here. Okay, I just get a sip of my coffee. Shout out to Chris, who just gave me this cup as a present about a year ago, something. Anyway, yeah, let's start. So let me just start my processing application here. Here we are. This is processing. Processing is a wonderful application to get started with creative coding. It really is my favorite environment. I really prefer processing over P5.js. That's something some people ask me often, like, what kind of technology should I get started with? And I would say processing is perfect because it's much easier to not get lost, right? It is kind of a sandbox. It's a closed system. It forces you to really think intensely about your code, and it gives you a very clear, let's say, error log and error information about the errors you do. And yeah, wow, I've got 6 people watching the stream. Hey, that's awesome. Okay, that's cool. Nice. How we start when we work with processing, as always, we create a setup function and a draw function, right? Setup and draw, and the setup function is the place where we put the size of the sketch. And the size of this sketch should be 900 times 900 pixels. Why? Well, because this is a quite good format for Instagram. I often publish my work or my experiments, especially my, let's say, the work that is based on my teaching. I publish that stuff on Instagram because that's a pretty good channel to reach people and show them what I'm doing. So, yeah. So this is the size function, and this is now here the draw loop, and I'm going to create a background function here, which generally or basically just erases the background. Cool. So I've just selected 2 images that are also. One of them is also included in this visual. So this, what we are going to create, will look a little bit different. But that's okay. So let's take this image here, I like this so much. It's for a reason, it's so mysterious, right? It has this spookiness inside of it. I really like this image. And you know, I'm kind of an obsessive image collector. So I'm really love to explore archives on the internet and to see what kind of images are in the public domain, where I can get some amazing content and images to work, to include into my work. I'm just seeing that there is a something in the sketch. Sorry, in the chat, can you please make a tutorial how to do alpha transformation? Alpha transformation, what's that? I think this is something different, right? Let's get going with this, but maybe that's something for later. Maybe you can just drop me a line send me a message and tell me a little bit more about what you exactly do want to learn. Okay, cool. This is the first image. This is the second image. So two statues from the ancient times, something I'm pretty into, right? I really like to read about ancient times and the history of philosophy and stuff. So that's pretty exciting. So what I do now, I just take both of these images and drag them to the sketch window here. And because I have Ubuntu 20, I have this weird bug where this doesn't work. That means I have to go back to my, I have to go back to my Finder, and I can drag them from the Finder here. This is a little problem of Ubuntu. I use Ubuntu because I really like this idea of having open source operating systems, which is pretty powerful, right? You can really literally use any old computer to run it on it, and it's very, very versatile and very flexible. It's pretty nice. Okay, so let's go. First of all, let's get started by creating the array which stores the data. Okay, so the array that stores the data is an integer array, right? This is the state. This is the status of the application that I'm creating here. So int, let's call this grid, let's call this array state. Int array state. It's a two-dimensional array. That's why I just used 2 pairs of these brackets here. Equals to new int array, and then I have to put the size of both of both axes of this two-dimensional array. Let's say 3 for now, okay? Because this, as you can see in this visual, we have 3 tiles on each axis, on x and y. So 3 times 3 tiles. Cool. So I've got this state array now. That's great. So first of all, I would like to fill this state array with random values. So let's create a nested for loop. Int x equals to 0. X is smaller than state dot length, right? And x plus plus. This is the first for loop I'm creating, and then here comes the second. Int y equals to 0. Int y is while or as long y is smaller than state.length, x plus or y plus plus, right? And here, if I want to be very strict about that, or if I want to do this properly, I have to put again the brackets in here, because this loop basically addresses the second or the nested array. Okay, x, nice. Okay, this is the proper way to do that, and now I will randomize these values here. And let's say how many states should each tile have, right? So, I mean, how many different variations of tiles do I want to have here? Let's say 5. I think 5 is a lot, and that's already very versatile. We can create lots of variations with 5. So let's say state, and then x and y, right? These are the indexes that I want to use here, and equals to int random, whoops, and then I will use a number between 0 and 6, right? Because this will always return a value smaller than 6, between 0 and 6, hopefully. Cool. Well, this is the very first step. So I get a randomized array here. That's fine. And now let's create the tiles and start with displaying geometric shapes there. So just to display this grid. Okay, let's do this. So float tile W equals to, and then you know, the thing is, I already know how many tiles I want, right? Normally, when I start writing a grid, I always start with writing a variable, writing a data field or a variable called tiles x, right? And this is the amount of tiles on the x-axis. But in this case, state.length is the amount of tiles. So we can do that. I mean, that's kind of not necessary to do, but it's maybe nice to have this here. Yeah, but maybe the code becomes a little bit too complex for you. I think because I want to keep it readable, because later on, of course, I will share this code on my website. So I'm thinking about leaving this out. Yeah, I think that's much better, because otherwise you get confused later on if you don't watch the video here, okay? So as well, I would also erase this piece here, because this, I mean, you know, we've got 3 times 3 tiles, and this could be confusing for beginners. So let's just keep that out. Okay, cool. So I need a floating point value called tile W. That's how I call this variable, which defines the width of the tile, right? And then I just divide width through the amount of tiles on one of these axes. So state dot length. Okay, cool. So float tile W, float tile H equals to height divided by state. Okay. Let's make this more readable for beginners. Okay, I will. You know, this is making this whole sketch a little bit flexible, but let's say I create another integer which is called int amount, or oh, a friend of mine just sneezed. Let's call this amount, okay? Amount equals to 3. And then I will put amount in here. Hopefully that works and doesn't break. And here as well, I will use amount as a variable. So that's much more easier, right? That's easier. Nice. It compiles, it works, that's great. Cool. Let's change the background color to F1, F1, F1. So I get a lighter background. Cool, that's a great foundation. Again, let's now create a nested for loop again. I will take this piece of code here, put it in here, right? This is a nice nested for loop. And I will now display ellipses based on the size of the grid. So, ellipse, and then the position of this ellipse will be controlled with a new matrix, because otherwise yeah, that's much cleaner, right? So push matrix and pop matrix. So I will translate the whole thing to the right position. Translate x times tile W and y times tile H. Ellipse, the position of the ellipse should be 0, 0. The size of the ellipse should be tile W, and the size on the the height of this ellipse should be tile W as well, or tile H. Okay, nice. Boom. The reason, you know, the reason why I use these two variables, you know, I have a square format, so that means tile W and tile H have exactly the same values. But the reason why I just use tile H and tile W here in two variables is maybe later on I want to change the size of the sketch, and that's that would break the whole thing, right? That would break the whole application, and that's why I just go for, you know, expecting the dimensions of the sketch later on to change, right? That makes this system very flexible and dynamic. Cool. All right. Now let's just make some styling here. Fill, let's say FF 4 times 0. Okay, nice. Can you see that? We've got already some nice ellipses on our sketch window, which is great. We have to translate that whole thing to position it in the right way. So translate and then tile W divided by 2 and tile H divided by 2. Let's see if that works. Yes, it works. That's wonderful. Here I will deactivate the stroke. Cool, nice, right? Let's see if that still works if I change the amount. Let's say 6 instead of 3. Yes, it works. Wonderful, right? This is responsive, right? This is flexible and dynamic. This is nice code because it just reacts to the amount, and you know, this is really cool and nice. Okay, cool. Now we need to define what happens when the state or what happens in each of these situations. You know, remember, we just created this state array, this nested, this two-dimensional array with the state of, and it stores integers between 0 and 5. So now we have to define what happens if state is 1, or the state of this particular tile is 1 or 2 or 0 or 3 or 5. So that's what we can do now here inside of this for loop. The translation is good, right? That's nice. I'm thinking about that. Does it make sense? Anyway, let's just try. Okay, let's say if state is 0, then it should be a circle. Otherwise, or let's say if state is 1, it should be a rectangle. Okay, so if state x and y is equal to 0, then display an ellipse. Otherwise, if state is, or the state of this specific tile here is 1, then do something else this here. So just copy paste the code and create a rectangle instead of an ellipse. Okay, let's see if that works. Wow, awesome, right? This is already a flexible visual system with infinite possibilities. That's great. Okay, that's cool. So because I'm just translating the whole thing here, it will make sense also to encapsulate the transformation itself into the conditional statement, even though the code is going to be longer. Let me think about that. No, this is not really clean. Let me think about that. Okay, so because later on we will work with images, I would like to change something here. I will change the ellipse mode to corner, because then the ellipse is going to be placed at the top left of the position where it is, where the coordinate system is, right? So that's cleaner, and now I've got a proper grid here. This is already pretty nice, right? So let me just save that to my desktop. Whoops. So let's go to my desktop. Okay, you can see what I'm doing, but this is live stream 01. Cool. All right, here we are. Nice. Let's put one of these images as a background image into the whole thing, into the whole sketch. P-image img1 equals, p-image img1, and then instead of the setup function, I will say img1 equals to load image, load image, and then 1.jpg. Okay, that's good. Nice. I've got the image inside of my sketch now, and I will resize it just in case it has not the right size. I know it is a square, and I will resize it to the width and the height of the sketch. And it's important to use the resize function inside of the setup function, otherwise it's going to really go crazy. This is going to resize. If you put that function into the draw loop, it's going to recalculate the size of the image. Every single iteration of the frame is really going to slow down and also completely destroy the image, right? So that's cool. And here I will use the image function, image, to display that image 1,00. Here we are. Oops. And let's see if that worked. Nice. Here we are. There's this image in the background of the sketch. So maybe we can clarify some questions just to make sure you are able to follow. You can. Let me just take a look at the chat here. Cheers from Chile. Hello to Chile. Nice that that's awesome to have someone from South America. I love South America. I've never been there, but I love the music from there, and the culture is amazing. Yeah. Okay, namaste from Mumbai. Hello. Nice. Pretty awesome. Okay, Digga, warum machst du keine P5 tutorials? This is an interesting question. So WW Wi-Fi asks why I'm not creating P5.js tutorials. Well, because processing, from my point of view, is much better to get started with programming and creative coding. That may sound strange to you, but it's the case, right? So from my perspective and my experience, P5.js has so many let's say, it's quite edgy, right? There are some points when you, for example, when you want to include a font or an image, you have to set up a little server, and this is kind of distracting and keeps you away from creating something nice, something visual. So you have to learn a lot until it really works. So the very beginning of learning P5 is quite easy, right? But from my perspective, you pretty fast reach the borders of or reach a specific point when it gets very frustrating, because to step further you have to learn a lot of stuff, right? That's something I find quite challenging, right? But of course, as you maybe know, I'm a web developer, so I'm very into web development, and creating tutorials for the web is something I'm definitely thinking about at the moment, and I'm already planning a few courses about that, right? All right, let's move on here. So what I just did, I just created this pimage variable, right? And I will create another one, img2, and img2 is going to be img or 2.jpg, right? And I will just change the variable here. So this is awesome. Now I have two different images inside of my sketch which are available, right? This is the second image. Now, okay, so now we can basically, this is the setup of the whole thing. And we can start designing the visual system we want to work with, right? So let me just copy paste these lines here, this conditional statement, and say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is the maximum value. Okay, so if I run this now, there should be lots of rectangles and just 2 ellipses. That's awesome, or just a few ellipses. So this is working. Cool. So what we could do, for example, here, we could just, let's say, place the image here at 0.0 and, oops, yeah, let me say img1, comma, 0, 0, and the values, the fourth and the fifth parameters in the image function receive or can be used to scale the image. So we could say something like tile W and tile H to scale the image on the right position, right? Can you see that? I mean, these images are now very small and fit into the grid here. That's what I did here with this tile width and tile height variables, right? But I think this is a little bit, it doesn't really work visually from my perspective, just from my, I just feel like this is not really aesthetic. But we can delete that again. And yeah, so the magic I want to show you here, or that just makes this visual that I just showed you here, this kind of blueprint, what makes this visual so magical and so powerful is the fact that I used a function called copy. And the copy function is probably the most powerful, visually the most powerful function I know from processing. It's a very, very complex function, which is super nice. It's really, really amazing it has so many possibilities visually. And that's what I'm going to do now. I will use the copy function to place pieces of these images onto the sketch window, right? Okay, let's do it. Okay, so here I have, let's think quickly. Let me just, I think it's always very important to think about how to structure your code. That's super important. It should be readable, and I'm really obsessed with writing well-structured code. It's just beautiful, right? I really like that. I really like writing code that others can understand, and I try to avoid writing many comments. That's something I've learned from the clean code philosophy of Rob C. Martin. I think that's his name. He has some talks on YouTube, and he wrote some very influential books on software development. And yeah, it's really very important to understand that writing clean code can really change everything, from readability to structure to also fun while writing your code, writing your program. While programming, okay? Okay, let's get going. The copy function, the copy function, yes. The copy function, let me just blank out these, well, maybe before we get started with the copy function, I would like to have a triangle in here, okay? So a triangle is something quite complex in processing. It's not super easy to put a triangle into a sketch because it takes 6 arguments, which is a lot, and you really have to wrap your head around how to create triangles. It's quite difficult because you have to define these 3 coordinates, and for each coordinate you have an x and a y value. So let me do that quickly. Triangle. Well, the first 2 arguments in a triangle function are the x and the y position of the first point. So mostly, or in this case, we can start. Maybe I need something to draw here, I think, just to show you what I mean. Let me just open up Figma. I hope it works. It has sometimes some difficulties on my Ubuntu system. It's quite slow, but it's a wonderful technology. So if you have the chance to work with Figma, it's really amazing, right? It's a really wonderful technology. It's in the cloud. I'm just working on a cloud server here while designing things in my Figma sketch thing here. So so let's draw a polygon. Whoops. Okay, this is a triangle, but that's not that kind of triangle I want. I want something like this. Okay, so this is a triangle I want to draw. The thing is, a triangle has 3 points. 1, 2, right? 3. So 3 points, right? So each point has 2 variables, x and y. So just let's think of a very simple coordinate system where this distance between 1 and 2 is 1. Okay. So what would the coordinates be if this would be a coordinate system that has a maximum value of 1, which would be strange, or let's say 100. That's a little bit more easy to understand, I think. So this distance from 1 to 2 is 100. So what kind of coordinates does this have? 0, 0. Okay, so here the upper left point of this triangle is 0, 0. So okay, so what are the coordinates of this point here at the bottom right of my triangle? 100 to the right and 100 down, right? 100 on the x-axis and 100 on the y-axis. So this is the point 100, 100. And this is the point x 0, because I don't move on the x-axis. This is the point 0, 100. So the values I have to put into the triangle function are 100, 100, 0, 100. And that will be a triangle with the size of 100. Well, that doesn't make any sense because we don't want to have a size of 100, but of the tile width, right? And tile height. This is a y value. That's why I'm going to put the tile h variable in here. Let's see if that works. Yes, it works. Look at this, right? So I've got some proper positioned triangles inside of my sketch, which is great. Let's go a bit crazy here and create two different variations of a triangle. So let's say something like, okay, don't do this. I think I will not do this. This is too complicated. And because I'm just in the draw loop, I just thought about this. I just thought making a variation of the triangle, but no, okay, let's not do this for now. So the copy function, that's what I wanted to explain here. The copy function takes 9 arguments, which is a lot, right? This is a very, very long function. But in theory, it's very easy to understand. So, because, let's go here to my Slack, that's the wrong application. Let's go to Figma again and let's say, okay, copy. And we've got parameters like, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Is that 9? No, that's 7. H, I, J. Let's convert that to Roboto Mono. Okay, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I want 9 arguments. Now, the copy function takes 9 arguments. The first argument is the image we want to copy from, right? The copy function is there to, you know, take an image and tell processing to tell a specific area or to take a specific area and put it onto the sketch window. So the first argument here is the source image. The first argument is the source where we want to copy from. The second parameter is the source x value. So where do we want to start on the x-axis to copy from this image? The second argument, the third argument, sorry, is the source y position. The fourth argument is the width of this source, and the fifth argument is the height of the source. Then, now we come to the destination. So the destination x position is the 6th argument. The destination y position is the 7th argument. The destination width is the 8th argument. Is that the right way to say 8th? I don't know. And the destination h represents destination height. So this is the source. Well, this is the source image we want to copy from, right? This is the source that defines what kind of area we want to copy from that image. And this is where we want to put that in our sketch window and what kind of dimensions it should have, right? So this is a very powerful function. It's a very, very, very powerful function. It's really crazy how amazing effects that can be done with this function. Really, believe me, it's crazy. And you can even use that function without defining a source image. And then you will copy from the actual sketch window, which can produce crazy feedback effects, right? So just if you have some time, check it out. It's really cool. It's really cool. Some cold coffee. Good. Okay, fine. Let's take that thing here and put it into the sketch. And now I'm going to define these variables here. So p image. No, we don't have to do that. Okay, copy from img1. Okay, this is the source, right? And then I have to define all these variables here. So int sx equals to 0. I just will set all these variables now to 0, and later on I will change the values here. So sx, okay. sy, width as height, destination X, destination Y, destination width, destination height. Okay, nice. That's basically the setup. So cool. I see a problem here that happens now here. Okay. Because I use the copy function inside of this situation, I don't want to translate the whole copy thing that I'm copying here, right? The translate would do something unpredictable here, something that I don't want. So that's why I would put it into each position of the conditional statement here. That's much better. But this is going to be a long sketch. Right? This complicates that whole thing a little bit, but it's necessary, I think. Yeah. So let's see. I can also, okay. Yeah. That's good. That's fine. Cool. Nice. So now these are just in these cells. The logic is written in, right? So here we are back in this copy function slot here, right? If state equals to 3, then it will just do the copy thing. So the source X is tile W times X. The problem is that this is a type mismatch. So I want, it's an integer here. So the copy function expects an integer because it wants to pick a specific pixel. This would result in a floating point value. That's why I have to convert it to an integer with the int function, right? So, and here I can say something like, oops, again, int tile h times y. The width is tile h, which is also have to be converted to an integer, and the height is tile h, sorry, tile here, this has to be tile w, and basically I can now copy paste that stuff and put it into the destination, into the dx dy thing here. I think that's true. I also could just reference it by saying as w, sorry, as x, as y, as w, and as h. Okay, let's see if that works. Oh, this is super exciting. I don't know. I am a bit scared hitting the run button here. But let's see if that works, okay? Let me just quit Figma again. Okay. Are you ready? Let's do this. Okay. Wow. Awesome. It worked. You can see that because these tiles here already have, these tiles are already copied from this image, right? These tiles here, which is exactly what I wanted. Perfect. So we can take that whole code here and put it into this place. Okay. So, and just change the variable from image 1 to image 2. Let's hit the run button, and here we are. Here we are. So basically we don't see a difference because we had this image in the background and this is basically doing exactly the same thing. But I now can just eliminate, whoops, it just can delete the function that just draws the image onto the sketch window, and then I will have some nice blank spots here. Nice, right? But I just liked it. That was better. Maybe we take I think that's something I did in the other sketch that I just published on Instagram. I just used more images. Let me just go to my special, very, very special super image collection folder called image pool, and there I always put some awesome images. Let's use something different, like, maybe some flowers. Yeah, why not? Let's use some flowers. Hopefully Ubuntu is not Sometimes it's a little bit annoying. Ubuntu 20 is a bit buggy sometimes. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. Here's the image that I just copied. And let's just maybe save let's save this whole thing to my desktop. And here is another image, right? It's not really a square, so I think I will squish it a little bit to, I think this is not going to be bad. Let's see if that works. So let's say img3. Let's take that code, put it in here, say img3 equals to load image, and then we call this this image 3.jpg. Let's put it into a sketch window, sketch folder. Here we are. Yep. And then we have 3.jpg inside of the sketch folder. Let's check if that's true. Let's check if that's true. I go into the data folder and I see that I have all these images in here. Perfect. Wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted. Cool. Now, okay, so that means I can now put image 3 as a background image onto the sketch, right? So now I have this flower in the background here in this visual, which is pretty awesome. Maybe let's pick another color, because I have this very strict color theme. I always use black and white paired with a specific, color, right? That's something I've learned while studying design. For me, that was a very, very, let's say, important decision, because I'm just working on many intrinsic motivated self-commissioned projects. And I just, this is just a way that turned out to be right for me, right? Recently, I've just been working a lot with greens. So maybe we can just, start a color picker application. I think processing has a color picker. Let's see if that's true. Tools, color selector. Oh yes, so it looks totally crappy in Ubuntu, but anyway, so it works hopefully. Let's see if that would be a nice. That could be cool here. Let's take that color and yeah, let's just put it into a variable. Let's say color. I call this FG because that's the foreground color and equal to that. So now I can use FG in the fill function here. We can change that later on if you want. Okay. Nice. Okay. So wow, this is already pretty nice. Look, now I can just change the amount and I get so many infinite different variations of the whole system, right? This is pretty awesome. I just can now play with that, and this creates thousands of different interesting images. So this is a flexible visual system, very powerful. Okay, I think we are halfway through, because now we get into the more, let's say now we get into the logic part of the sketch to make the whole thing here react to my mouse clicks and change the state based on which tile I'm clicking on too, right? Yeah, let's save that. Good, fine, cool. Let's have a look at the chat. Okay, looks cool. Thanks. Hello to the Netherlands. That's great. Portugal. That's also awesome. I've been studying at the IAD at Lisbon for 1 semester. That was very, very nice. So I love Lisbon. I love Portugal. It was a wonderful time. So thank you very much. Okay, so there are some requests on tutorials. Sorry. Yeah, I will check that. I mean, I'm going to check the chat later on and see what kind of questions about what to do are in there. And maybe you don't know that I've got many courses on my website, right? So I have this Patreon. So if you sign up for my Patreon, you get access to all of my courses. YouTube is just a very small place where I put my content, and most of the content I create is available on my website, timrodenbrücker.de. That's the place where you get tutorials and lots of courses well structured. I'm really working a lot on the syllabus and the curriculum, on the structure. I'm creating lots of courses. Some of them are work in progress. So I'm all the time, every time I'm just fiddling around in this whole e-learning platform I'm just building, and there's so much planned, right? You can also attend to my community meetups if you want. So community meetups are meetups of people learning processing, creative coding, and I've got amazing guests there. So I really had so many awesome. Let me just show you the community site, the page on my website. It's called timrodenbrücker.de. Yeah, okay, so here are my courses. This is the curriculum that I'm creating. And as you can see, these are all courses having many lessons. Creative Coding Essentials, for example, has 30 lessons on specific aspects of processing, creative coding. I really explain everything from the ground up. So if you are interested in learning that, that's definitely a good resource, I think. And yeah, so the community meetups are, that's something I'm really working on a lot. So I really enjoy inviting people to do meetups via Zoom, which is very inspiring, very empowering. We are a group of people. Some of them come over and over again, and we are connecting via these formats, right? So these are all the guests I already had. So Q&A sessions are like, I just invite people to the sessions and we just chat about learning creative coding, being a creative technologist, about client work, about design, theory, philosophy, about life, about COVID-19, all these things that just matter to us, right? So these community meetups are very, very powerful, and I really enjoy doing those. So feel free to join one of my sessions. It's Patreon only, it's Patreon, it's a Patreon community, but that way it's very cozy, it's quite small. All people are very motivated, and that's really amazing. So if you want, join the community. I'm looking forward to meet you there, okay? And of course, later on, when this tutorial is finished, you will find the code and some explanations here on my feed. My feed is packed with tutorials as well. So if you're looking for more tutorials, just go to tutorials on my feed and you will find some, okay? Awesome, cool. Let's move on here. So now the very, very programming part begins, right? So now we start writing the logic on how we get, the tiles changing depending on mouse clicks, which is kind of hard, maybe for some. It's not super easy, but we can do that. Let me just expand the processing sketch window here. Sorry, the editor window. Yeah, I can also delete these files here. That's a little bit cleaner. Okay. Ooh, let's do this. Let's find out where the mouse is and log this to the console. Okay? So, I just forgot how I did this. I have to think about it. Did I really do this with object-oriented with a class? I'm not really sure. I mean, I just want each tile to be, I want to check where, on which tile the mouse is at the moment. So if I'm on this tile, I want to know, I want to address this exact tile here. Let me think. Okay, so void mouse pressed. That's how we, mouse release. That's the better function to get the click of a mouse. Okay. Curly brackets. Okay. So let me just create an integer value, a variable for where the mouse is over, which tile is now touched by the mouse. Int mx and int my. How did I do that last time? I mean, I know how to do that with a class, but I don't exactly remember how I did that without using object-oriented programming. So I don't want to hard code this. I just want to have it flexible and dynamic, right? I don't want to hard code this. So let me just see if there's someone in the chat who knows how to do that. Okay, no hints here. That's okay. So I need a for loop, a nested for loop. Yeah. So let's take that nested for loop here again and create another one to check where the mouse is. So here we are. Okay, now I'm going to use a command to structure the code a little bit, because I find now that would be a more better readable. So check where the mouse is. Maybe I can take that code and put it on top. I think that would make sense. I'm kind of procrastinating because this problem is kind of overwhelming me at the moment. But I know I can solve that. I mean, that's definitely possible. I did that before. I just don't remember exactly how I did that. So if mouse X is smaller than, I want the mouse, this variable, right? mx and my. I want mx to return 0 when I'm here, mx to return 1 if I'm here, and mx to return 2 if I'm here. That's what I want to do. And I'll try to, how did I do that? X times tell W okay, I've got it. I think I've got it. And mouse X is greater than, no, it's smaller than, it's greater than. So this is basically a way to check if it's just on the x-axis, if it's in the first, in the second, or in the third column here, right? So if mouse x is smaller than x times w, tau w, and mouse x is larger than, okay, I can make corrections later on. So times tile. That's not the right way to do that, I think. Mx equals to int mouse x okay, mouse x divided by amount. I'm stuck here a bit. This is a live stream. That's a little bad. I don't know how to fix that. Is there anything on the chat? Maybe someone knows how to fix it. No. Cheers to Finland. Hello, Finland. Awesome. Such an international audience here. I don't get this at the moment. Okay, that's okay. I have to research that again. Oh, whoa, what I could do, of course, I can take a look at my sketch that I just wrote. Of course, that's the solution, right? I just go to my Dropbox, look for the I'm just looking for the grid system course that I've been working on, and here we are. This is the sketch. Hey, that's the solution. Here we go. So this is this whole thing, right? This the video export function. Here's the copy function. Okay, this is how I count up, and I want to know how to mouse Y over. How do I calculate mouse? Okay. I use the map function. Oh my goodness. Yes, of course. I mean, that's the whole solution. That's the solution. Okay, it's good to have sketches. It's good to have the sketch already done. That's cool. Okay, nice. I don't need a nested for loop anyway. I can just map the whole thing to... That's everything I need. So what I'm doing here, I'm mapping the mouse position, which is between 0 and width, to 0 in tiles x, right? And tiles x could be changed to amount, because that's the variable name we use here. And this returns the exact mouse position. Perfect. This is such a beautiful and simple solution for that problem. Wonderful. I love that. Cool. So let's check if that's true, if that works. So let's just create a printline function which returns the mx and my variables. Printline, printline mx, comma my. Let's see if that works. Okay, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, awesome. 2, 2, 1, 2, 0, 2. Wow, wow, this is amazing. Wow, this is amazing. Awesome, cool, nice. So now we know where the mouse is, right? So now I can say something like, okay, let's just delete that printline function, because that's going to drag the performance of the whole thing down, and say, okay, when the mouse is released, go to the grid, and change or count up the variable that is inside of the state array here, right? That's what I want to do. But the problem is, what if the amount would exceed, what if the value would exceed 5, which is the maximum value inside of this grid? Well, this would result in a catastrophe, and it would break the whole program, right? So we can't access elements in arrays that don't exist. That means we have to write a function that is that counts up until it reaches the end of the array, and then it starts back from 0. So void count up. And let me just copy paste it from that sketch. I mean, that was already pretty good. And whoops, where is it? Whoops, where's the sketch? The other one. That didn't work for any reason. Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. So here it is. So this is the count up function. I just want to copy paste here. So this just takes the x and the y value, right, and just decides which element in the grid should be count up. Count up, and I put it here. That's awesome. And okay, it's not called grid in my case. I called this array state. So I just changed the name of the array to state. Max, what's max? Okay, the max is basically the let's say the maximum value, that it can reach. So this is 5 in this case. Okay, so then when I click on one of these elements, I want to count up these. You know, I feel already kind of exhausted. I've just been thinking so much, coding at the same time, talking at the same time, thinking at the same time aloud. This is very, very exhausting to me. But let's get going. We are close to the end result, and then we can export some amazing videos out of that. Wouldn't that be great? Yes, it would be great. So let's do this. Now, void mouse released. state. Let me just see how I did that in the last sketch here. Yes. Yeah, I have to use the count up function now. Is that true? Yep, I think so. And it works. Oh my goodness. Amazing. Can you see that? I can now click on these elements and I can change the visual here. I can change the tiles by clicking on them. Wow, that's amazing. To be honest, I'm unable to explain this in every detail because I feel super exhausted at the moment. It's really, it's a moment of low energy, and I feel like my concentration is just flowing away, right? So it's really difficult to keep track at the moment. So I won't be able to explain everything in detail here. I will do that maybe later on in the course, but that's exactly what I wanted to do. And the next step would be to save images every time I click on one of these elements, right? So I can use the save frame function to do that. And I will put all these elements into a folder called out. That's something I always do when I save images. And we have to create this folder manually, right? So out, here we are, there it is. And yeah, now I can just run the sketch and click onto these elements, and it's already a little bit slower, but it's because it's just saving an image each time I click on these elements. Let's go to the sketch folder and see if that's true. Nope, it doesn't work. Okay, that's because I didn't end writing that line of code. That's makes sense, right? Let's say live stream, let's say visual, and then some of these hashtags here, and then JPEG. That's better for images. Okay, cool. Let's click on one of these elements here. Does it save an image? Yes, it does. Awesome. Can you see that? So each time I click on one of these grid tiles here, I get an image saved to my folder, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So now I can just play with these, right? I can play with these grid tiles and create some interesting patterns that I like, right? So what if we just reset everything back to these flower thing? Yep. Right. So let's get put back to the flower, and yeah. So now I can start. This is really going to be to look very nice later on when we see the video. So I'm just going through that whole thing. I'm just drawing something interesting, and then just try to put some logic into my designing process here. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. That's pretty nice. And back at the beginning. Cool. That's great. So we've got lots of images now in this folder here, which is pretty nice. So the cool thing about processing is it has this function called, or this tool called Movie Maker. So normally when I create videos out of my sketches, I use a video export library by AB Pasos, which is excellent. It works wonderful. You have to install FFmpeg for that. That's why I'm just trying to make the process of exporting and rendering a video here much easier. And yeah, you can just choose and this is the video export library, the Movie Maker tool in processing. And I can choose a folder. Because I use Ubuntu, it really looks so crappy. That's the UI is terrible, but it works, right? That's the most important thing. I can choose the folder, open it, and now I can decide what kind of frame rate I want to have. Let's say I want to have a frame rate of 10. Let's keep the size same as originals. That's why you always should check that thing here, right? And let's say create movie. Let's call this livestream.mp4. Nah, I don't know. I think I only can export an MOV file, which is a kind of Apple based proprietary movie format. So that's why I would like to change. Let's say I would like to convert that. Okay, where's the file? Here it is. Okay, cool. So I will create a terminal. That's something you probably don't know how that works, but you know, there's a application on every computer. On Windows, it's called PowerShell, I think, and on Mac, it's also called Terminal. On Linux, it's also Terminal. So I can use FFmpeg, which is an amazing technology to convert videos. I will now convert that livestream.mov to a livestream.mp4 file, which is a very nice open format for videos. And this is the perfect format to publish a file to Instagram or something. So we'll use ffmpeg, then I livestream.mov to livestream.mp4. So at least I use FFmpeg so often. It's so amazing. I love the technology. It's so simple, and you can just, you know, just convert any format into another, right? And it's very powerful. Here we are. That's the video. That's the video I just created. Awesome, right? So let's pick some music to put it under this video file here. So I'm a musician. Maybe you know that, but you know, I'm making a lot of music. I've been making a lot of music, especially when I was between 15 and 30. That was the time when I made the most music. At the moment, I'm more focused on creative coding and building that company and this e-learning platform thing. But I've been really making a lot of music. And let me see, where's my music folder? Oh, my Dropbox is such a chaos. It's terrible. Yeah, so here are some edits I made of my music, and recently I've just been recording some guitar loops with my looper and my guitar. I'm just learning guitar at the moment, and here are just some loops I just did. So this is kind of, let me see. I hope you can hear that. Okay. That's the one I used here in this file, in the example from the beginning, right? Okay, let's. Okay, nice. That's great. Wow, this has such a space in it, right? It's such a wide space. Awesome. Fresh. Okay, cool. GL. Okay, so this is the WAV file I'm going to use, right? I'm just dragging this to my tools folder, and I have a script, a bash script called add audio, right? Bash is a programming language for very low level code based on Linux or Unix. It's sometimes very helpful. Let me just take that thing here and put it into the terminal so I don't need to use this bash script, so you can see what I'm doing here. So let's just put that in here. And basically what this does is it takes, where's my music file? Is it in here? Nope. Okay, I've lost the music file. That's bad. Let's go back to my Dropbox. Okay, let me just do that. Dropbox, and then I have my music folder, hopefully. Such a chaos in here. Dang. Okay. Edits, then guitar loops, and then I had this GL. Yeah, here we are. This is the file I want to use here. So let's put that file to the desktop. Is it there? Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. So a little bit of chaos here. So let me just see if that... where's my video now? I'm just missing my video. Dang, come on. Here it is, live stream. Okay, cool. Here it is. So livestream.mp4 and GL. Let me just rename that to in and in. It's much easier, right? In.wave, in.mp4, and in. Whoops. And in.wave. And now I can use that function here to just tell it to take, let me just maybe scale this a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, this is too large. Whoops. Okay, so ffmpeg, this means that the input file is in.mp4, the other input is in.wave, and I will create here, so in.wave, and I will just, this stuff just means, you know, put that all together and take the shortest file to crop the whole thing. And then I will give it a name of out.mp4. Dang, what's wrong here? So I'm just on the wrong position. Okay. Boom. Perfect. Nice. Okay, okay, let's do one last thing. Okay, so what I just see here is that these two visuals are very similar, right? So both have three pieces or an amount of three pieces, and I would like to change that, right? So because the other one should be a little bit different than the other one. Okay, so let's go for, let's say 5. Okay, 5 pieces, 5 tiles. That would be awesome. Okay, let's go and just delete all the files from the out folder. Okay, and maybe we can also change that. Well, 5 is okay. I think 5 is a good number. Let's do that. Okay, let's start the sketch again. Okay, so here we are. Let's repeat the whole thing of designing that that grid here. So let's just first of all reset everything to the flowers visual. Okay, here we are. Let's get back to the flower. So, you know, I'm just drifting all the time, like in my head. It's like, you know, keeping concentration is so challenging at the moment. Like, okay, but I'm live. I have to be concentrated. I have to, you know, I have to do this now. Let's get to the flower thing. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, cool. So let's do something. Let's do something like creating a I don't know, just a pattern like this one. Okay, and maybe we can now go through that whole thing. This is going to look awesome, I think. Okay. You can hear my colleague talking right on the phone. That's crazy. Wow, this looks amazing. Okay, so let's do that again and go through the whole thing. And this will have some, this will look amazing, I think. Whoops, dang, I just, I have to go back, okay. Okay, cool. So now let's go once around that sketch window here. And yeah. Oops. Hello. Whoops. Okay, and now let's move back to the flower, okay? How many clicks do I need to do that? This is going to be a long video. I think it's too long for the music. So maybe I have to accelerate it a little bit. Okay, and 2 steps are necessary to get back to the flower visual. Yeah, nice. Okay, this is going to be nice, I think. Cool. So all these images have been saved now to the old folder, hopefully. Let's see if that's true. Yes, that's true. So here are all these images that I just generated by clicking just onto the sketch window. And now I can just take all these images, which are at all I have. Okay, I can take these images and put them again together with the Movie Maker tool. Movie Maker. The folder is still the same, so I just can keep going and just change the frame rate to 30. It's much faster. But and I can also, I don't need FFmpeg to add some music, but I think it won't work when the music is shorter than the video. So let's do that the more complicated but better way. Okay, create movie again, livestream2.mov. It's generating this file. That's good. Yeah. Nice. It should be there. Let's see if it's, yeah, here it is. I think I can't play a movie file. I didn't know that. I thought playing MOV files is impossible on Ubuntu. Anyway, okay, this is amazing, right? This is really, really cool. Wow. I'm totally hooked. I'm so happy with this visual. It's amazing. Good. Let's use that music again to, let's see, how long is that video? 12 seconds. The thing is that the music is not long enough. It's just 8 seconds. Maybe we can change that a little bit. Let's go into Audacity and just edit that music a little bit to, to get it matched, or to make it match with the visual. Probably this is going to sound completely different. Let's say I want to just stretch the tempo and let's see if I don't know exactly if you can hear what I'm doing here, but hopefully that works. Percent change. Let's say, okay, I want to change the whole tempo to -20%. See if that works. Okay, it's still not long enough. I'm here about 9 seconds, so I still have to change it. Okay, let's just take that whole thing and just double that, because I think it really sounded pretty nice, and see if the transition is okay. Yeah, nice. Okay, 14 seconds, that's great. Okay, so let's now export that whole thing to the desktop. Let's call this in.in2.wave. And yeah, so now I can start FFmpeg again. Hopefully it's still in there. Okay, cool. Yes. So as an input, I select livestream2.mov. 2.mov. And as an input, I use in2.wave. And as a name of the output file, I will say out2.mp4. Okay, let's hope that this works. Ooh, could not find tag for codec blah blah blah. Okay, what's wrong here? Something is wrong here. Couldn't find codec. Out2 dot. Why didn't it work? So live stream. Maybe I have to convert it to a I don't know. To a livestream2.mov, and I will create something like grid.mp4 to see, hopefully this is going to convert properly. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so now I've got this grid mp4 which doesn't have any sound, and now I will put the sound onto it. Hopefully this works. So the input is grid.mp4. Into.wave is the other input, and the output file should be called out, let's say 3.mp4. Let's hope that this works. Wow, okay, this worked. Wonderful. Here we are. Wow, this is amazing, right? So this is really nice. What I really like about this is kind of, you know, this is an interaction between human and machine. So, you know, I'm just working with the computer or with this programmed visual system to create something out of that, right? So you can see that there's a human working with a mouse to design something here, but it's a very, let's say, tight visual system I'm working in here. Wow, I'm super stoked. It's amazing. It's really a perfect result. I'm so happy with that. It's awesome. Yeah, I think this is a great time to end this live stream. Maybe I will have a little look into the chat if there are any questions about that. So feel free to ask anything now, and we can discuss this, and then we will end this. And yeah, let's see. Looks pretty cool. Yeah, loop it. Yeah, it's looping. That's great. Okay. To be honest, I'm learning much more in YouTube than our college. Love to hear that. Awesome. Yes, yes. I also think that's really, really nice. I'm out of focus. Okay. Yeah, that sometimes happens in my webcam. How to fix that? Let me see. You know, I don't know how to fix my camera. Maybe I can. That's always the problem when it's getting darker. It's now very, very dark here. Yeah. That's something bad. Anyway, hello. I'm out of focus. Can I fix that by just putting my hand onto the camera? No, I can't. Anyway, it was a pleasure. I mean, this is also very nice, right? Why not being blurry? This is art. It was amazing that you was here in this live stream. I really enjoyed it. It was, as I said, it was very exhausting. I felt like, you know, really losing my energy over the time. But I was mixing so many concepts in here. I mean, think of what we've just done. We've been using arrays. We've been creating grids. We've been using the copy function. We've been importing images. We've been rendering a video. We've been cutting audio. So many concepts that have been touched here. I really enjoy this. I think this is something I'm going to do much more often in the future. I wish you a wonderful evening. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye. Peace out.